Myself Arthur Clive, Assistant Professor, Department of Mechanical Engineering, Akshaya College of Engineering and Technology. So in this video we are going to see about what are the steps to be followed for making a mold cavity. How to make a mold cavity. So firstly you can see this diagram. So we have already discussed what is the drag and what is the cope. So in this diagram we can find molding board. So above the molding board there is a drag pattern. So drag pattern means the pattern is in the lower box, that is lower box, that is the drag box. So it is known as the drag pattern. So these two pins, there is a aligning pin. So this is the drag box. So in diagram A we can find. So in diagram B, so what will happen? So the box will kept in straight position. See the pattern which is located in the top side. Okay. Below that there is a rammed molding sand. So first of all this drag pattern should be kept inside the box. So above that pattern the facing sand should be splattered. So above that the ram, the sand, molding sand should be filled. So after filling the molding sand, what will happen? We have to ram it. Then only that cohesions will be sticked. Okay, we are using ramming. So after completing this box, you turn the box. Okay, so you should keep like this. So you can see in diagram B. Next, so now the lower box is filled, completed. The lower box, that is the drag box work is completed. Then we have to complete the work for cope box. See, here you can find the pattern, that is the top side of the pattern. So we are using this pattern type, that is the split pattern. So the pattern in the form of the split. So one part of the pattern is located in the drag box. So here the other part of the pattern is located in the cope box. Okay, so you fix the pattern. So again you keep the cope box on the upper side, that is the upper part. So in diagram C, that is the below diagram, you can find that is the pattern. So above the pattern there is a screw pin, there is a riser. So you can find the riser should be kept above the part of the pattern. So why you are using this riser pin on the surface of the pattern? The main reason is, so through the sprue we are pouring the molten material. So when the metal is filled in the pattern cavity, molding cavity, so after filling what will happen? It has to rise. So through the riser it will come out. Then only we can find. So all the vacuum, that is all the molding cavity is in filled stage. Okay, so here we can find So these two boxes are closed with the help of the aligning pin. Okay. So finally, so this is the pouring basin, riser. So here you can find the parting line, mold. Okay. So when we are pouring the metals, what will happen? It will fill in the mold. So after filling, it will rise in the riser. Then only we can find the mold is in filled stage. Okay. So this is the steps for making mold cavity. This is one of the steps to make mold cavity. So I will tell the procedure. So initially I will tell the procedure how to make a mold cavity. So initially a suitable size of the mold box for creating suitable wall thickness is selected for a two-piece pattern. Here you can see two-piece pattern. So sufficient care should also be taken in such that since that the molding box must adjust mold cavity, that is the riser and the gating system. So you can find that is the sprue, runner and gates. Okay. So next what we have to do, so place the drag portions of the pattern with the parting surface down on the bottom. We have to ram it. Next the facing sand is then sprinkled carefully all around the pattern so that the pattern does not stick with molding sand during withdrawn of the pattern. Next, the drag is then filled with loose prepared molding sand, and then we have to ramming for the molding sand is done uniformly. The ramming should be done uniformly in the molding box around the pattern. Next, fill the molding sand once again and then perform ramming. Repeat the process 3, 4 or 5 times. Next, what we have to do? The excess amount of the sand will be collected. Okay. So it is removed using strike of bar to bring molding sand at the same level of the molding flask high to the complete the drags. We have to remove the excess amount of the sand with a strike of bar, and we have to keep the same level. Next, the drag is then rolled over the parting sand and sprinkled over on the top of the drag. Next, now the core pattern is placed. So now the drag portions will be finished. Again we have to do it same work for core pattern. So what we have to do for the core pattern? So the core pattern is placed on a drag pattern. Okay. First drag pattern should be filled, finished. Then we have to keep core pattern should be placed on the drag pattern, and alignment is done using dowel pins. Okay, the alignment should be in proper way. For example, if we align in different positions, the casting part will be mismatched. In order to avoid this, we have to use that dowel pin. Okay, so while using the dowel pin, so the position of the drag box and the core box would be in the same line. Okay, for that purpose only we are using for dowel pin. The core is placed over the ram drag and the parting sand is sprinkled around the core pattern. Same thing, same procedure should be followed. Next, sprue and riser pins are placed in vertically position at suitable locations using support of the molding sand. So we can find in diagram, we can find sprue and riser should be keep, okay, should be placed vertically, okay, in order to support the molding sand. So it will help to form suitable size cavity for molding molten metal. Okay. Next, the cope are set suitable locations if necessary. They should not be located too close to the pattern or mold cavity. Otherwise, they may chill the casting and fill the cope with molding sand and ram uniformly. Next, same thing, strike off the excess sand from the top of the cope. Finally, you remove sprue and riser pins and create vent holes. We have to create the vent holes in the cope with the vent wire. So, vent holes should be provided in the cope box. The basic purpose of the vent creating vent holes in the cope is to permit the escapes of gases generated during pouring and solidifications of the castings. So what will happen when we are pouring the molten materials into the molding cavity? So there will be some gases will produce inside the mold. So if there is a gases inside the mold, so what will happen? There will be some causes fault, okay, during solidifications. So the casting may swell, so it may deformed. So in order to avoid this, we have to remove the gases. For that purpose only, the vent hole should be provided. Next, sprinkle potting sand over the top of the cope surface and roll over a cope on the bottom board. Next, wrap and remove both the cope and drag patterns and repair the mold suitable if needed and dressing is applied. So we have to find, next we have to find the gate, whether the gate connecting, cutting or in order. That is that the gate is then cut, connecting the lower base of the sprue basin with the runner and then the mold cavity. Next, apply mold coating with the swab and the mold in case of dry sand mold. Next, set the course in the mold. If needed, we have to set the course if needed, and close the mold by inverting cope over drag. So final stage is we have to close the mold, that is drag and cope. The cope is then clamped with a drag and the mold is ready for pouring. So after closing, there will be the pouring. Okay, this is the full procedure. This is the full steps for making the mold cavity. So here we are using the two-piece pattern drag portions. So the drag is filled with the loose prepared molten sand and ramming. For next, the excess amount of the sand is then removed. Now the cope pattern is placed on the drag pattern and alignment is done using double pins. Okay, so this is the procedures. See, strike off excess sand from the top of the cope. Finally, we have to remove the sprue and riser pins and create the vent holes in the cope with the vent wire. Apply mold coating. We have to apply the mold coating. Set the course in the mold. The cope is then clamped with the drag and mold is ready for pouring. So already we have seen what is the casting terms. So inside the mold there will be the molding sand. So we are using the molding sand. So we are using the facing sand. Next, core also we are using. Next, pouring basin. So pouring basin is a funnel shaped. Next, the sprue, runner, gate, chaplet, riser, vent. So these are all things we are using for producing the casting term. Okay, these are all steps that we have to follow for making a mold cavity. Okay, so this is one of the important steps. Okay, we can discuss next topic in next video. Thank you.